mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says control over what one says is more important than complete silence. The best is to learn to say what is useful in the most exact and true way possible. With always our love and blessings, says our Divine Mother. Sri Aurobindo's Savitri, Book 1, The Book of Beginnings, Canto 4, The Secret Knowledge, page 73. A witness and student of her joy and dole, a partner in her evil and her good, he has consented to her passionate ways. He is driven by her sweet and dreadful force. His sanctioning name initials all her words. His silence is his signature to her deeds. In the execution of her drama's scheme, in her fancies of the moment and its mood, in the march of this obvious ordinary world, where all is deep and strange to the eyes that see, and nature's common forms a marvel weaves, she, through his witness sight and motion of mind, unrolls the material of her cosmic act, her happenings that exalt and smite the soul, her force that moves, her powers that save and slay, her word in the silence speaks to our hearts, her silence that transcends the summit word, her heights and depths to which our spirit moves, her events that weave the texture of our lives, and all of which we find or lose ourselves, things sweet and bitter, magnificent and mean, things terrible and beautiful and divine. Her empire in the cosmos she has built, he is governed by her subtle and mighty laws. His consciousness is a babe upon her knees. Her endless space is the playground of his thoughts, his being a field of her vast experiment. She binds to knowledge of the shapes of time and the creative error of limiting mind, and chance that wears the rigid face of fate, and her sport of death and pain and nescience, his changed and struggling immortality. Words of our Divine Mother, taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Volume 1. Taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Volume 1, page 93. Our Divine Mother says, "Blessed was the day when I came to know thee, O ineffable eternity. Blessed among all days be that day when the earth at last awakened shall know thee and shall live only for thee." Next topic, reflections on the path. This is taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Volume 2, page 42. Subtopic, the humble role of a servant. What value have our impulses and our desires, our anguish and our violence, our sufferings and our struggles? All these inner vicissitudes unduly dramatized by our unruly imagination. What value do they have before this great, this sublime and divine love bending over us from the innermost depths of our being, bearing with our weaknesses, rectifying our errors, healing our wounds, bathing our whole being with its regenerating streams? Our Divine Mother says, "For the inner Godhead never imposes herself. She neither demands nor threatens. She offers and gives herself, conceals and forgets herself in the heart of all beings and things. She never accuses. She neither judges nor curses nor condemns, but works unceasingly to perfect without constraint, to mend without reproach, to encourage without impatience, to enrich each one with all the wealth he can receive. She is the mother whose love bears fruit and nourishes, guards and protects, counsels and consoles, because she understands everything, she can endure everything, everything, bearing everything within herself. She owns nothing that does not belong to all, and because she reigns over all, she is the servant of all. That is why all, great and small, who want to be kings with her and gods in her, become like her, not despots but servitors among the brethren. How beautiful is this humble role of servant, the role of all who have been revealers and heralds of the God, who is within all, of the divine love that animates all things. Next subtopic taken from the Lesson of the Rising Sun from Volume 2, page 44. Our Divine Mother says, "Courage! Hearken to the lesson that the rising sun brings to the earth with its first rays each morning. It is a lesson of hope, a message of solace. You who weep, who suffer and tremble, who dare not expect an end to your ills, an issue to your pangs, behold, there is no night without dawn, and the day is about to break. When darkness is thickest, there is no mist that the sun does not dispel, no cloud that it does not kill, no tear that it will not dry one day, no storm that is not followed by its shining triumphant ball. There is no snow that it does not melt, nor winter that it does not change into radiant spring." Our Divine Mother says, "And for you too, there is no affliction which does not bring its measure of glory, no distress which cannot be transformed into joy, nor a defeat into victory, nor downfall into higher ascension, nor solitude into radiating center of life, nor discord into harmony. Sometimes it is a misunderstanding between two minds that compels two hearts to open to mutual communion. Lastly, there is no infinite weakness that cannot be changed into strength. And it is even in the supreme weakness that Almightiness chooses to reveal itself. Next subtopic, a morning concentration on gratitude taken from the second volume of our Divine Mother's collective works, page 115. Our Divine Mother says, each morning when you get up, before you begin your day, with love and admiration and gratefulness, hail this great family, these saviors of mankind, who, ever the same, have come and will come until the end of time as guides and instructors, as humble and marvelous servants of their brothers, in order to help them to scale the steep slope of perfection. Our Divine Mother says, thus, when you wake up, concentrate on them, your thought full of trust and gratitude, and you will soon experience the beneficial effects of this concentration. You will feel their presence responding to your call. You will be surrounded, imbibed with their light and love. Then the daily effort to understand a little better, to love a little more, to serve more will be more fruitful and easier at the same time. Our Divine Mother says the help you give to others will become more effective and your heart will be filled with an unwavering joy. Next subtopic, success and failure. This is taken from our collective works of our Divine Mother, Volume 2, page 121. Our Divine Mother says, to know how to renounce the satisfaction of the present moment for the sake of realizing one's ideal is the great art of those who want to make their transient total existence yield its utmost. There are innumerable categories of successful people. These categories are determined by the greater or lesser breadth, nobility, complexity, purity, and luminosity of their ideal. Our Divine Mother says one may succeed as a rag picker, or succeed as a master of the world, or even as a perfect ascetic in all three cases, although on a very different level. It is one's more or less integral and extensive self-mastery which makes the success possible. On the other hand, says our Divine Mother, there is only one way of being a failure, and that happens to the greatest, to the most sovereign intelligence, as well as to the smallest, the most limited, and to all those who are unable to subordinate the sensation of the present moment to the ideal they wish to achieve, but without having the strength to take up the path identical for all in nature, if not in extent and complexity, that leads to this achievement. Our Divine Mother says, between the extreme of an individual who has fully and perfectly realized all he had conceived and that of one who has been incapable of realizing anything at all, there is, of course, an almost unlimited range of intermediate cases. This range is remarkably complex because not only is there a difference in the degree of realization of the ideal, but there is also a difference between the varied qualities of the ideal itself. There are ambitions which pursue mere personal interests, material, sentimental, or intellectual, others which have more general, more collective, or higher aims, and yet others which are superhuman, so to say, and strive to scale the peaks that open on the splendors of eternal truth, eternal consciousness, and eternal peace. Our Divine Mother says it is easy to understand that the power of one's effort and renunciation must be commensurate with the breadth and height of the goal one has chosen. At any level, from the most modest to the most transcendent, one rarely finds a perfect balance between the sum of self control, the power of sacrifice available to the individual who has chosen a goal, and the sum of renunciations of every kind and nature which the goal requires. When the constitution of an individual permits this perfect balance, then his earthly existence yields his utmost possible result. Our Divine Mother says everything belongs to all, and to say or think this is mine is to create a separation, a division which does not exist in reality. Everything belongs to all, even the substance of which we are made, a rill of atoms in a perpetual movement, which momentarily constitutes our organism without abiding in it, and which tomorrow will form another. Those who say this idea is mine and who think they are very charitable in allowing others to profit from it, they are senseless. The world of ideas belongs to all. The intellectual force is a universal force. Our Divine Mother says, we are like channels. If we do not allow what they have received to pour out freely, not only do they become blocked and no longer receive anything, but what they contain will spoil. If, on the contrary, if we allow all this flood of vital, intellectual, and spiritual forces to flow abundantly, if by impersonalizing ourselves, we know how to connect our little individuality to the great universal current, what we give will be returned to us hundredfold, says our Divine Mother.